Isioma's mother Amaka was taken aback when her daughter unexpectedly returned home with all her belongings. Concerned, Amaka questioned Isioma, but she concealed the truth, claiming she simply needed a change of environment. Several days passed before Isioma mustered the courage to confess. When she finally did, Amaka was horrified, her scream echoing through the house. Without delay, she informed Isioma's uncle, Maazi Ejiofor, who was accompanied by his kinsmen, and promptly rushed to Amaka's house to hear the full story from the horse's mouth before proceeding to Ikena's house. Through tears and heart-wrenching sobs, Isioma narrated the maltreatment she received and suffered from the hands of Ikenna and his mother, Nenna. Her tears mirroring her agony, each sob a reflection of her broken spirit. Maazi Ejiofor, filled with anger, resolved to visit Ikenna's parents the following day with his kinsmen to address the matter seriously. However, upon their arrival, Nenna, having already heard of their intended visit, instructed the gatekeeper to deny them entry. Frustrated after traveling such a long distance, they attempted to reach Ikenna's father, who apparently had traveled to another city, and his calls were being answered by his supposed secretary. Maazi Ejiofor and his kinsmen felt insulted. They had left Ikenna's parents' house with indignation and promised to return and seek resolution. 4 months passed since Isioma left Ikenna and returned to her mother's house. Her pregnancy, now 6 months along, was progressing steadily, and her belly was growing rapidly. Determined to maintain her health, she adhered to a balanced diet and attended regular antenatal checkups. Throughout this time, Ikenna showed no interest in her welfare, neither calling nor visiting to see the star of her pregnancy. Despite repeated attempts by Maazi Ejiofor and his kinsmen to engage with Ikenna's family, their efforts were met with excuses and outright hostility. On their final visit, Nenna even threatened to call the police, accusing them of harassment. All their pleas for Ikenna's family to take responsibility were ignored, leaving Amaka devastated. Amaka was consumed with guilt, blaming herself for persuading Isioma to conceive before marriage. Her trust in Ikenna's family and desire for her daughter's happiness had backfired disastrously. Now, Amaka slowly bore the weight of her regret, often crying in secret whenever she saw her daughter, Isioma, who tried to be positive and thrive in her pregnancy. Amaka's heart was merely as broken as Isioma's heart was. Nevertheless, Isioma refused to completely be broken by the situation. She resolved to stay strong for her child, channeling her energy into preparing for motherhood. Determined to move forward, she sought out forgiveness from Pastor Bless, who prayed for her and encouraged her. She also tried reaching out to Chioma to apologize and rekindle their friendship, but was told from a mutual friend that Chioma had moved abroad to meet her fiancé 3 months ago. Chioma, with a soft and open heart, accepted to rekindle her friendship with Isioma when she heard that Isioma was trying to reach out to her. They spoke over the phone, and Chioma, with a good heart, didn't hold any grudge towards Isioma and was genuinely empathetic towards her. She was also positive and encouraged Isioma not to give up. Isioma, who thanked her friend profusely for forgiving her, was overjoyed at Chioma's engagement and her relocating abroad. Their friendship was once rekindled again, and they spoke frequently over the phone, gisting each other on their daily lives. Isioma genuinely celebrated Chioma's success, even as she secretly wished her own circumstances were different. Through the unwavering support of her loved ones, Isioma found strength and hope again, and she even rededicated her life to Christ and began to heal emotionally. The ninth month of her pregnancy came, and she was fully prepared for the birth of her child, with all the support from the doctor, her family, her friend Chioma, and Pastor Bless, who prayed for her perpetually. Isioma birthed a healthy baby boy and named him Onyinyechuku, meaning God's gift. She embraced motherhood with open arms, finding solace and purpose in her son. Even though Ikenna and his family had heard about the baby's birth, they remained indifferent, refusing to acknowledge or visit their child. A year later, Isioma began searching for job opportunities, determined to rebuild her life. Since Ikenna, who had been promoted at work, made sure she was permanently dismissed during her maternity leave, severing any remaining ties between them. It was a calculated move to avoid exposing the consequences of his actions to his colleagues. It had been 5 months after Onyinyechukwu's birth when Isioma had heard that Ikenna was set to marry a lady that got pregnant for him. Isioma wasn't shocked or sad about it. She just wanted to focus on the betterment of her life and that of her son. Isioma was eager for a fresh start in a new city. After applying to numerous jobs online, her prayers were answered when she received an offer from a newly established company in Lagos seeking skilled employees. The news filled her with joy, especially when she learnt about the generous salary benefits, a beautifully furnished apartment funded for 3 months, and a sleek company car. Thrilled by this life changing opportunity, Isioma couldn't contain her excitement. She called her mom, Chioma, and Pastor Bless to share the good news and celebrate before preparing for her move. Within weeks, Isioma had settled comfortably in her new life in Lagos. She explored the vibrant city while balancing her responsibilities as she searched for a perfect nanny to care for her 1-year-old son, Onyinyechuku. Her journey had truly begun, and she was ready to embrace everything the bustling city had to offer. As Isioma's first day of work approached, she prepared herself meticulously, eager to make a strong start. When the day finally arrived, it surpassed her expectations. Her colleagues were warm and welcoming, and she quickly adapted to her new environment, performing her job impeccably. By the end of the week, Isioma was thrilled with how smoothly everything had gone, and she eagerly called her friend, Isioma, to share the wonderful news about her successful first week. On Monday morning, as Isioma settled at her desk and began tackling her first task of the day, she got a message from the receptionist informing her that the boss, Mr. Damascus, wanted to see her. A wave of panic washed over her. Myriad of thoughts raced through her mind as she rode the elevator to his office. Had she unknowingly made a mistake? Was there any issue with her documents? Could Ikenna somehow sabotage her to get her fired? Nervous and uncertain, Isioma braced herself for the unexpected meeting. When Isioma entered the room, She found Mr. Damascus seated in his chair, his back to her as he gazed out the bustling city through the large window. Trembling with fear, she paused to take a deep breath, trying to steady herself. She couldn't afford to lose this job, especially not within her first week. She had worked hard and performed her duties diligently, attending every meeting with focus and determination. Yet, she stood there, questions swelled through her mind. Why was she being summoned? Had she made a mistake without realizing it? Could someone have logged a complaint about her? She was prepared to plead her case, make amends, and do whatever it took to hold on to this precious opportunity. Summoning her courage, she stepped forward, ready to face whatever awaited her. I am here, sir, Isioma said softly, after a brief pause, her voice strained with fear. From her colleagues, she had learned that Mr. Damascus was a reserved man, whose quiet demeanor made him all the more intimidating. They had also mentioned his unwavering commitment to excellence. He was known to be kind, but had zero tolerance for laziness, carelessness, incompetence, and recklessness. As Isioma stood there, these thoughts only heightened her anxiety. Her heart pounded fiercely, so loud she could hear it echo through the walls. The office was a pristine, expensive space with floor to ceiling windows that framed the bustling cityscape. Around her were beautifully arranged antique art pieces and furniture, each exuding an air of sophistication and wealth. She believed cost more than her monthly salary. She tried to steady herself, determined to face whatever was coming next. Mr. Damascus let out a sigh. Silence filled the air for a minute before he instructed her to sit down, which Isioma did uncomfortably. Isioma Ruth Ekene Dilichuku, Mr. Damascus said, swiveling his chair slowly and dramatically. Yes, sir, Isioma answered with a wry smile, though her trembling betrayed her composed exterior. Her heart pounded as she met his unreadable stare. Mr. Damascus was strikingly handsome, well structured, with beautiful hazel eyes that seemed almost intimidating. His future, from the perfectly groomed low cut hair to the neatly trimmed beard, spoke of class and sophistication. Dressed impeccably in a three-piece suit, he looked like he had just walked out of a magazine. Yet, as Isioma studied him, something about his face struck her as familiar. She juggled her thoughts, trying to recall where she might have met him before. The heavy silence between them buzzed with tension. The familiarity of his face distracted her from the fear she had been feeling earlier. There was an odd reassurance in his demeanor. His stare seemed to quiet the fear she had felt earlier. Calm down, you're not in trouble, he said again, a teasingly warm smile pulling at his lips. Sir? Isioma stammered, startled as her gaze snapped back to his face. Isioma, please don't tell me you don't remember me, he exclaimed. Sir, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. She stuttered nervously, lowering her gaze. Ubona Damascus, that year in accounting, 2008, in Imo State University, he prodded, his tone light but persistent. Isioma furrowed her brows, diving into her memories. I know it's been long, but you can't forget about me now. I was your tutor in first year. Bobo, I was called Bobo back then, and I would always call you Isioms. Mr. Damascus continued, his voice twinged with nostalgia. Her eyes widened suddenly, the pieces falling into place as a flood of memories hit her. What? Bobo, wait! She gasped, momentarily pausing. Am I allowed to call you Bobo now that you're my boss? Mr. Damascus laughed, his deep baritone filling the room. You can call me Ubonna or Bobo, either works, as long as we are in the workplace. But right now, it's all good because we are going to catch up, he said, flashing a broad smile that made Isioma blush. She couldn't help but marvel at how much more handsome he had become over the years. And now, he was even her boss. Wow, she thought to herself. So, can we meet at the canteen during lunch break? We have a lot of catching up to do. I can't take up your work hours, Ubonna said, snapping her out of her daze. Yes, yes, we should, Isioma replied excitedly. You may go back to work, Ubonna said, smiling warmly. Isioma stood, grinning sheepishly, and made her way to the door. Don't forget 1 p.m., Ubonna called after her. Sure, sir, she replied with a shy smile before slipping out. Ubonna had been Isioma's close friend from her university days. While Ubonna pursued business management, Isioma studied accounting. As a third-year student, Ubonna had taken it upon himself to tutor Isioma, easing her transition into university life and becoming her guide. His caring nature quickly made him an essential part of her life. Their bond had grown so close that rumors about them being a couple began to circulate, but they had been nothing more than close friends focused on academic success. It was Ubonna who introduced Isioma to the Youth Christian Fellowship, where she became an active choir member. Together, their dedication to their faith earned them the nickname the Evangelists, as they were known for their success in inspiring others and leading them to Christ. Despite jokes about Ubonna becoming a pastor, he had always laughed it off, claiming it wasn't his calling. After his fourth year, Ubonna had left to further his studies abroad, following his parents' wishes. Before departing, he had promised to stay in touch, but life got in the way and Isioma lost contact with him when she moved to Port Harcourt. The years rolled by, and Isioma found herself often thinking about her first love, a love she had kept hidden, too afraid to risk their precious friendship. Now, as she went about her day, Isioma struggled to concentrate on work. Her thoughts kept drifting back to the possibility of meeting Ubonna again. He wasn't wearing a ring earlier. Could he be single? The hours passed in a blur until the clock struck 1 p.m. She quickly made her way to the canteen, where Ubonna was already waiting, a warm smile lighting up his face. See, I've been looking for you everywhere for years, Ubonna began as they settled in their conversation. Ever since I got back from the UK, I thought it was best for me to look for you manually, even visiting your old neighborhood and asking around, but still no avail. Ah, I was wondering what corner in the world you were hiding in. So I contacted almost all our mutual friends, seeking any news about you, but it was all to no avail. Until one fateful day, I saw your CV among the list of potential applicants the HR had set for hire. And I was shocked oh. I was actually doubting if it was you, and now look, here you are. You're here with me. What a small world. A small world indeed, Isioma said with a smile. I literally thought I would never get to see you again too. Their eyes met for a moment. They basked in the warmth of each other's gaze, cherishing the familiarity of their bond. Other than the past, how is life? How is your mom and your brother? Are you married? Is there a man in the picture? Ubonna asked eagerly, his curiosity overflowing. Isioma laughed. Calm down now. How many questions do you want me to answer at a time? Well, my mother is fine and my brother is doing very well for himself. He is engaged to be married. And as for me, she extended her hand, showing off her ringless finger. I am obviously not married and there is no man in the picture. Wow, Ubonna said, visibly delighted by her answer. And you, is there any woman in the picture? I notice you're not wearing a ring either. Isioma asked curiously. No, I'm as single as a Pringle, Ubonna joked, prompting hearty laughter from Isioma. Their conversations carried on, filled with nostalgia and joy. As they reminisced about their university days, they couldn't help but smile at the paths that crossed once again. Their lunch ended with plans for more outings, and as time went on, these outings blossomed into dates. That evening, Isioma called her friend Chioma, her voice brimming with excitement as she gushed about reuniting with Ubonna. For the first time in years, she felt hopeful. Perhaps her first love would become her last.